We have whakapapa, we have a legacy. Anything requires that you have a strong foundation. That foundation has been very strong and was laid many, many years ago by our ancestors.
Many traditional practices are gaining renewed, modern-day relevance.
Diving back into my Maori culture is huge. That's where my heart is.
Let's try this, eh?
We can understand what our ancestors went through.
It's really lovely.
To create and innovate.
It's always alive, the wood keeps moving, eh?
Just carving on a digging stick from old, try and contemporarise it and come up with my own little my own version of it. My name's Uenuku Hawira. I've been carving since I left school about 20 years ago. It's just been snowballing out of control since then. Over the years, ended up doing contemporary styled works. Basically, this was my first traditional project, and it kind of gave me the whole reawakening of my connection back to my Māori heritage and culture through some of the work here. Yeah, so that's all chiseled lines. The main inspiration for all this was to sort of empower the children, to have something for them to come to school here and see something awesome, something to look up to or look forward to just to go, man, this is amazing. It did wonders for my whole creative processes and everything. Now I'm back into adding more traditional elements into my work, and not only that, bringing back the storylines that go with it, so we can benefit society as a whole. Every wood is different, but I'm trying to read the wood as best I can to achieve the cleanest cut possible. It's sort of part of the conversation, if you like, between the artist and a log of wood. Just so when it lives on as a treasure, it's able to sort of retain that the cultural identity, I suppose, for its life, yeah. One of the most rewarding parts was rediscovering my own culture is huge.
Around 1,000 years ago, ancestors of the Maori sailed from the Austral and Tahitian Islands in French Polynesia and Tonga to Aotearoa, New Zealand.
There were hundreds of double-hulled sailing waka that came down here and also went back. None of us that live in the Pacific Islands would be here without sailing waka, without our ancestors having the knowledge of navigating, of sailing.
Piripi Smith has made it his life mission to revive traditional Māori navigation.
It's believed that it was a couple of tsunamis that happened in the 1600s that put a pay to the end of voyaging. That's when we pretty much started losing the practical knowledge of navigation, of sailing big waka like this.
Paana? Hei, pai ahau, me koe hoki. Welcome aboard our waka te Matau Maui. So this is our hoi uringi, which is how we can control the waka. We'll normally have someone on this 24 hours while we're sailing. If it gets pretty rough, we'll have a few people on there.
No original complete waka exists today, but this is a recreation based on traditional stories. This morning, Piripi and his trainee Te Kaha are preparing the waka for its next ocean voyage.
Once you've voyaged and you've seen the type of people that are up there, it's just like, you know, your auntie and your uncle here. Voyaging really got me to look into genealogy.
The key fundamentals of weaving raranga in Māori is tension. Tension being the way that you manipulate and hold the harakeke whenua itself. There is a lot of going on inside your brain when you're weaving. You're trying to think of your pattern structures, the sequences. The ultimate game for me is to get a mental state where I am at peace.
Raranga or weaving has helped Purewa McGregor restore and make sense of a lost past. She wasn't raised in a Māori neighbourhood and had no connection to her iwi or her tribe as a child.
Weaving came to me all of a sudden. I wasn't looking to do anything that was even remotely Māori. So when I was able to claim my identity as a Māori, that was a real pivotal moment for me. It's going to be super secure. And then we'll just do a little knot, just get the length of the earrings as well. I consider myself a traditionalist, but on the same step, it's just as important to innovate and take it further while still staying in the realms of our traditional techniques.
In Aotearoa, New Zealand, Purewa's good friend Tori is helping her complete an innovative woven garment.
I try to make them as intricate as possible and to do things that nobody else, to be honest, can be bothered doing. I really love the way it looks against your skin. It's absolutely beautiful. It's really meaningful for me to see this on Tori. It's made for a wahine that I envisioned to look like her. It's really quite amazing and special. My daughters can't wait to tell people what their mummy does, and they see how hard I work, and that inspires them enough to want to share that with people. They are incredibly proud to be Māori. And I think that I've helped instill that for them because they learn that when they work hard and they take ownership of what they are doing, the world is their oyster.
Maketu is one of the landing places of one of the ancestral canoes.
I just love being out in nature.
Right. I feel connected through the landscape, especially in Maketu when we go out foraging ingredients. We look out into the ocean. I think, no wonder they pulled up here. Like, it's such a beautiful place.
Chefs Karena and Casey Bird are dedicated to bringing the culinary traditions of their ancestors into the 21st century.
Found this spot. The way we showcase it is taking Māori stories and representing those stories with food. Are you going out to get cookies today? Yeah.
Like mum and papa want to
Yeah.
like real strict.
This morning, the sisters have caught the low tide to harvest kai, or food, from the waters of the picturesque Maketu estuary.
Being really connected to the earth and the ocean is an integral part of our identity as Māori within food.
I actually quite enjoyed that, to be honest.
Today, the sisters are planning a dish for their next big culinary event.
I'd like it to really represent, obviously, like where we come from. So using things around Maketu to showcase, obviously, like the moana and how beautiful it is.
And you can't go wrong with a crayfish. It's got such a beautiful flavour.
We can use the quipi from the estuary. We do have those really beautiful urenika potatoes.
I think the samphire is a really nice addition in terms of like the green pop, the nice crunch it has to kind of balance out the dish. Let's get our sapphire karina.
All right. I think what's cool about the samphire is that's an ingredient you can find in Aotearoa around the coastlines. Using ingredients we would get from Maketu, That were almost what set us apart from everybody else and what made our food have real depth, I think, and meaning. Look at that cute one.
Oh, that is really cute. How many of these do you think we should put on the dish?
I reckon 3 in the shell, 4 out of the shell.
Yeah.
They almost look like dragon eggs.
Old gardens around Maketu where they say some of the first kumara were planted in New Zealand. And so that was one of the crops that they brought and grew and survived.
When I'm cooking a kumara, I think, man, this is what they brought over with them on the waka when they came in 1350. And now I'm eating a version of that. This crayfish, isn't that just so pretty? There's nothing like the smell of onion and garlic, you know?
Can you pour a bit more broth in here? I think for us, there's this whole reclamation of Māori knowledge.
Yum. I might put the touch of sauce onto each of these.
It's holding on to traditional methods, but also figuring out how do we move that into the future as well.
And then let's add on our samphire.
What are modern ways in which we can explore our cuisine?
Let's try this, eh? Get a little bit of everything on your fork.
Yeah,
Way better with the extra lemon.
definitely. But I think the dish as a whole is really nice. I'm happy with that.
With Māori food, we're still a very young country. So I think at the moment we're in a really exciting phase of the food culture and food identity of Aotearoa as a country.
Their food is very, very different. It has the ethnic touch to it. Absolutely the best that you get.
The food was fantastic.
This is how we want people to feel when they've been to the dinner. What makes New Zealand different from every single other country in the world is the Māori culture.
Thank you very much.
We're at the precipice of Māori cuisine and flavours just really blowing up. And it's cool to be a part of that. It's cool to be a part of that change.
Uenuku is performing a Māori ritual to ensure he's spiritually protected. It's a practice every Māori artist undergoes to pay respect to the gods for the resources they provide and to the ancestors whose knowledge has been handed down through the ages.
That water element in our river is actually that binding element to our ancestry. So I had a bit of a prayer just to keep my head on my shoulders, just to make sure my heart's in the right place.
Working at Gardens by the Bay, it's kind of like part of a bigger vision of Singapore being a city in the nature. Cloud forest itself, it actually replicates a cool, moist environment that you typically see in high elevations, such as Mount Kinabalu in Malaysia and South America.
It's part of Janice Lowe's job to maintain the gardens surrounding the kuaha.
Kuaha is a special project. The plants that was used in that display is purely native New Zealand plants. This one that we have here is actually the New Zealand silver fern. You can see the silver underlining of the ferns. In the olden days, the Maori actually lay this underside up on the trekking path so that at night when they use the torch, it will actually reflect the markers on the track itself to guide the way back.
The kuaha is a majestic symbol of the connections between the two countries.
It speaks of the ends of a waka or a sea voyaging vessel. This kuaha is beautifully adorned in various patterns that represent different things in our culture.
Its carvings illustrate the importance of sustenance, growth, and the Māori relationship with the environment.
On one side, there's acknowledgement to Rongo Marairoa, who is the guardian of cultivated food. And then you have Haumie Tiki Tiki on another side, who is the spiritual guardian of uncultivated food.
Together with the native New Zealand botanical display, the kuaha stands ready to inspire all who pause to reflect on the strength that can be drawn from the past.
We hope that we will bring a part of New Zealand to Singapore at Gardens by the Bay, so it sparked their interest, hopefully creating an awareness for the kawaha sculpture here as well.
The time has come to unveil the kuaha in an official ceremony.
Welcome to the formal unveiling of this beautiful kuaha. We will begin with a karanga, a welcome call performed in Te Reo Māori, the Māori language.
This kuaha speaks of many different elements that tie both our cultures together. We hope through the creation of these treasures it enables us to keep holding conversation as we move into the future.
The kuaha is also a reflection of a value that both our countries hold dear, kaitiakitanga, meaning guardianship and conservation, this special site and place. And remember all of the incredible occurrences in our world history that led to its unveiling, but also what it represents of our future together.
Being able to sort of reciprocate that aroha in some way, shape or form, put the love back into the ngāhere, that's where my heart is. I'll just come to these places now and again to sort of touch base with the essence of our environment. This is how my ancestors lived, in bush like this. You can still feel them in amongst the wood, in amongst the old trees. We are sort of the futuristic personifications of what they fought for so long ago. To be able to sort of take something from the ngāhere, from out of the bush, and then turn it into something that's going to be treasured over time is just humbling. I'm going to do a little riruku. That's a prayer. Sort of finishes up our day. Tēnei au, ko te hōkai nei takutapu ai. Ko te hōkai nuku, ko te hōkai rangi, ko te hōkai āto. We can all move collectively together and with a collective vision on how to apply this traditional knowledge into today's world. So I'm trying to do it with art, you know, trying to influence communities with art. E rongo e waka iria ki runga hai. Turu turu o whiti whakamaua kia tīna, tī, me hui e tāki. Kia ora whaka. Got a bit emotional there.
It's a gateway to parallel worlds. The coming together of cultures.
This thing called haipapa or responsibility and kaupapa.
rooted firmly in their Indigenous identities,
Being able to sort of reciprocate that aroha, that's where my heart is.
past, present and future.
Being really connected to the ocean is an integral part of our identity as Māori.
It also serves as a bastion of these distinct peoples and places.
You have to have someone who holds that knowledge and share it with you.
To Aotearoa New Zealand,
People just want to be able to tap back into a lot of that knowledge. That's what's important.